Well, hello there, Spooky. What are you doing, little bit? You doing okay? You doing okay, baby? You Papa's little lady? You are. You just a little treasure, aren't you? Sweet as you can be. No? Well, don't turn into a Cleo, okay? Spooky. I love you too. Yeah. Well, at least it's warmed up some. I think we're 56 right now. Of course, and the reason I went ahead and brought all of y'all out, well, first of all, y'all all stopped by. Wasn't really expecting that. Of course, should have known. Many of y'all were sending me messages wanting an update on the deep freeze. And yes, we had one. Now granted, that's not a big thing. Our average frost date here in my little area of the deep south is March 29th. Of course, that could be a little bit earlier or a little bit later every year. Well, today, as a little bit, and Spooky will tell you, we had one this morning. Now, it was projected or forecasted, whichever way you want to say it, to get down to a frosty 21 to 23. Thankfully, that didn't happen, but still, it got down to 26. Now, because of the low humidity and the fact that of that, we didn't get a frost per se. That wasn't the issue. The issue was it got down cold in the late evening, and therefore it was cold throughout a longer period of time. And you see, that makes a difference. But as you can see up here with dewberries up on the bank by the road, yeah, it appears, for the most part, their blossoms somehow survived. Yeah, an interesting fact about dewberries, which are a species of blackberry, is the fact that they are self-pollinating. Now, of course, you will have more bountiful harvest if the bees cooperate. Yeah, it's just a fact of life. But yep, blueberries, like many blueberry species, well, all of them, but berry species, are what is referred to as self-pollinating or wind pollinating. Most of you have seen me tickle my tomato blossoms, which also don't require bees. Nope. They are self-fertile too. And what's all that mean? Well, when they say a plant or variety thereof is self-fertile, it has both the male and female parts inside each flower bud and can pollinate itself. You know, the wind vibrates it, somebody touches it, or old Mr. Tom comes by and gives a little tickle every day. Best to do it when the pollen is most viable, which is in the morning hours. Just some information there. Hey, little bit, you gonna walk with Papa today? Yep. I wish you and Speedy could make up. No, she don't want to, huh? Yeah, well, that is a thing. No, we're Cleo. But anyway, now I'm gonna show you my old scruffy face for at least a few seconds, because you can see we're still sporting the winter beard. And thankfully, with as cold as it got this morning, that's a good thing. But looking at the long range forecast, we're gonna have to scrape this thing off, because this looks like the last of it. Well, this being Sunday, March the 13th. Well, we're going to get down to 31 in the early morning hours today. You know, Monday morning. Some people call it Sunday morning, but Sunday morning was when the freeze came. But I mean, my concerns are more about certain things that will impact this year. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, when you have these early warming trends like we've had last 3 weeks, yeah, things like the blueberries budded out, the red buds, Bradford pears, all the fruit trees, the oak trees, yeah, oak trees, they have blossoms and buds too. That's how acorns are made. And if they are impacted where they've already budded out and then a hard freeze comes, they'll drop those blossoms and that'll impact the acorn harvest. Any of you have not been with the channel for a long time probably didn't know the deer apocalypse I went through in 2019. And everything, I tried everything. I tried Irish Spring soap, I mean, all kinds of stuff. Finally even put up a 7-foot deer net. And they just tore through it. Why? Because the deer were hungry. They were basically starving. Because one of their main food sources, as you might imagine, is acorns. But I mean, it didn't only impact the deer. Raccoons, squirrels, possums, yeah, just to name a few. Because, once again, we had late spring freeze. And that's exactly what we've had this morning. Now, spring sprung early. Fooled everything. Went into blossoming and budding out. And then this morning, got down to 23. Now, I was out here right at daybreak. And there wasn't a bit of frost to be seen. But it was the temperature. It's the length of time that freezes the buds, the blossoms, and causes the damage. So I'm out here looking to see just what the severity is. So let's take a look at it. And we'll talk a little bit more about pollination and how this may impact us throughout the year here in 2022. Now I know you can't see it well on video, but up in the oaks, and if you pay real close attention to that last drive we did, you'll notice up in the oaks there were these little catkins like you can see now, and they were a bright lime green. Oh yeah, and that's the flower of the oaks. Yes, they are. And that, you know, is a precursor to the pollination for the acorn crop that will come in 2022. And what you're seeing now, and I can see far more clear than y'all, they're no longer lime green like they were this time yesterday afternoon. They are all limp and a shade of golden brown. Yeah, the frost killed them. Now, whether they have already pollinated prior to the deep freeze this morning is the question. We won't know that till come fall. A little bit. What's your opinion? Do you have an opinion? You're too young. You don't know nothing. You'll go ask Spooky. Well, yeah. Spooky there. He's like the walking Britannica encyclopedia of the kitty crew. You know, he sits on the National Security Council for the kitty crew. And they're still weighing their options. What to do with us humans messing up the planet. He said he'd keep me informed in case I need to go hide in the bunker. But anyway, my major concern was my blueberries. And you know, because on my last video I showed them to you. And you can see right here the blossoms, which are everywhere. Now, if you really paid attention, you will know these were nice and white. Yep, and there's still some bees over there. You see that big old bumblebee? He's still working on them. Of course, he's doing a lot of coming and going. Yep, he is. And just like here, you might see what once was pristine white is now brown. Yeah. Now this is in the afternoon, about 2. Yep. So I don't know. But if we get real close here, you can see what would be the berries right behind the blossoms, many of which have already fallen off. Yeah. But that gets back to another issue or fact with blueberries. Something you may not know and is often misrepresented by, you would think people who are more informed, because they got fancy websites, big blogs and everything, and they'll tell you you need the bees. See right there how brown those are? Yeah. I'm thinking not good, but in the next week or so we'll know. And the reason I gotta sort of wait and see the outcome is, first of all, did you know blueberries are also self-fertile? Yep. Each one of these flowers or blossoms has a female and male in them. Yeah. They can pollinate themselves. And they can have a party all on their own. No, I'm just saying. Can you imagine humanity and how that would be? Yep, we'd probably went extinct by now. Just saying. So, yep, blueberries are self-fertile. The wind pollinates. It sure does. Of course, if you wanted to come out here and help them out some, you can do just like your tomato plants, like I say all the time during the gardening seasons. Tickle those blossoms, because it helps. But the wind, the vibrations, what have you, and of course the bees, the bumbles and the honeybees, they just make it all the more better. And you might say, well, it's always recommended to have another pollinator variety. Well, yeah. Does that mean if you don't, you won't get any berries at all? Well, no, that's not true. Here again, misrepresentation in facts. Of course, you have to do, some research, over there with those university types that have studied stuff like blueberries for, the last 60, 80 years. They'll, depend on other talking heads. And don't depend on me. Go do your own research. Not on blog sites, not on YouTube. Get with your extension service, at the county. They're good people. Get with your local ag university, like here, Auburn. Good people there. They know all about farming, gardening, plant varieties, and everything you ever wanted to know. But anyway, what I have here is I have a powder blue rabbit eye variety. And the biggest mistake most people make when planting anything, blueberries, any type of fruit tree, and what have you, is they don't get the right variety for their average climate, their, growing zone. They just get what they want to get. But in the South, there's 2 types of blueberries you need to get. One of the 2 or both. And that's the southern high bush or the rabbit eye, which is also a high bush, as you can see. Not a low bush. And a low bush is It grows way down here. Yep. Won't get very high at all. 4 to 6, maybe 8 inches. Maybe a foot, depending on the variety. They're up north, where blueberries' natural habitat is still today. I mean, I can remember in Pennsylvania going out and picking wild blueberries. Oh, yeah. Well, no need to grow them. You go up on the mountainsides, find them for free. But these are powder blue. And then the other variety I have is Brightwell. Now that was done because powder blue, the recommended pollinator, is Brightwell. For Brightwell, one of the recommended pollinators is powder, back and forth. Now I know I said they're self-fertile. They don't need bees, and they really don't need another pollinator. Well, the whole simple fact is, if you do have another pollinator, which is recommended, it will increase your harvest of blueberries by 15 to 20%. See? Those university people, they've been looking at it a long, long time. Who else could sit every year and count blueberries, right? Anyway, so the jury's still out. Well, old Mr. Tom, even though a lot of these blossoms that were once white are now, brown, still produce berries? Yep, even I can't answer that question. We'll have to see. But that's the state of them. And yeah, I think I'll still get some at the very least. Am I going to get this plethora of harvest that all these blossoms everywhere would have been, like the last few years, as you and I have looked them over? Yeah, I'm not betting on it. But something else I've noticed today, even when I came out this morning, even midday for lunch with the kitty crew, and even now. Listen closely. Yeah, we're at the holly. And there are two things vacant. One is the sound of all those thousands upon thousands of honeybees and bumblebees we saw just 2 days ago. Nope, not a one. But here again, if you watch that video, you'll understand that these blossoms right here were that same brilliant lime green. And now there's shades of brown and blackened. Yeah, that 23 degrees has killed the hollyberry blossoms. Now you can see in there, there's still berries. Now here again, how will that affect the hollyberries, which are a major food source, by the way, for birds, squirrels, yeah, and I'm sure other things as well. Even though I don't think we humans can partake of them. I haven't looked into that because I've never literally wanted to. So far, I haven't needed to figure out if hollyberries are edible. But you can see, compared to 2 days ago when I was out here with y'all, as they say, the silence is deafening. So that's the impact of an early spring warm up. Everything comes out, everything buds, and everything was oaks, all the trees. Now it does look like, for the most part, the trees, the leaves themselves may survive. Now I'm sure some of the more younger and tender ones will drop to the ground. But it's not like last year where it was just a bud and leaf apocalypse. And I showed that to you where I walked out, where everything was on the ground. Of course, that was in the fall time, not in the spring, thank God. And I know you can't see it, but something to note, my native pecans, they always bud and flower late in the spring. And they have yet to bud yet, and they're probably just fine. Way out there, you can see a Bradford pear starting to blossom. And I did take a little short ride around, excuse me. Y'all weren't here to go along. And it would appear, even though Bradford pears don't produce anything you can eat, they are pretty for about a week. And then in my mind, basically a worthless tree, but that's just me. Their blossoms somehow survived. Now, apples didn't fare as well. I did see another pear tree that looked like its blossoms survived. So, will it be just a no fruit season this year? Well, like all years, everything won't be totally wiped out. Now over here on my other mass of Buford hollies, you know, where things hadn't quite got to the stage of the blossoms opening. And I am thinking, if you look right here, you know, some may have made it. Now I do see some darkening, as you can see there. So there may still be some blossoms open up to feed the bees, and that's another consequence of this morning. The bee population, they, as you saw, they were loving that pollen. Oh yeah, they called out everybody. They called out an alert to every bee colony far and wide. They were loving it and singing their song. Yeah, they were. And yeah, some of them way up in there, see, they may well still produce active pollen. So there'll be some food source for the bees. But overall, will this impact them? No, I'm sure it will. Something we really don't need. You know, the last 2 years I've seen more honeybees, especially this year, well, 2 days ago, than I've seen in the last 10. And, you know, in previous years I've told you, I hadn't seen a one. Thank God I had my bumblebees and my wasps. So, yeah. The honeybees, they're probably not too happy right now either. But there'll be other food sources. Things that weren't affected. Let's look at one. Right here. It would not appear that the frost, well, it didn't frost, but 23-degree temperature didn't affect the dandelions. As it didn't affect the blueberries, or I mean the blackberries and dewberries. So yeah, there's still some food sources out here for the bees. And then there'll be more. Because not everything has budded and blossomed. Some things have yet to do it. Now, the Chinese privet, which is an invasive species here in the South, but it has flowers. Speedy! Speedy! You wanna come see Papa? Speedy! Speedy! You on strike? Well, come on over and see Papa. Speedy! Come on. Come here, see Papa. Come here, baby. Oh, come here, see me. You see me? Or are you mad at me still? I love you. You're my little princess. I've told you that. You my main squeeze. Don't tell Cleo that, okay? It's okay. Papa loves you. A little bit ain't gonna get all your love. Trust me. Oh. Yeah, we'll try to convince Cleo of that. Well, that ain't gonna happen. So, that's the way things are here. In the deep south of Alabama, my beloved America. Yeah, it just gets back to that saying that rolls through my mind. We'll just roll with the punches and survive with the times. We always have. No need to panic. Yep. You know, if you're prepared, bet you can be. You know, in years past, all throughout my life, have I always had blueberries to eat? Anytime I wanted? Well, the answer to that would be obviously no. As you all know, back during the 50s, 60s, 70s, you didn't go to the grocery store and expect to find blueberries. They looked at you like you were nuts. Yep. But now, people do. And they expect to see it whenever they walk in. Yeah. Oh. Social media. You know, they all over the place. Be prepared. Because you're going to go without. Yeah. Most of us, all of you out there, my age and older, or close to it, you've lived in times and going without was just a seasonal, every year part of life. You know, that's what they made canned fruits for. Yeah. Canned fish, canned veg. Yeah, and here we all are. It's still a kicking and a grinning. Or at least we're trying. So I ain't gonna get all too tore up. This year, I only have a few blueberries to eat fresh with my frosted flakes and Cheerios in the mornings. So be it. I got some packed back in the freezer. You know, because occasionally I like to make me some blueberry muffins. Or pop a handful in some cornbread. Add a little extra sugar. Woo, I'm telling you. That's some good eating. But just a little update on the freeze apocalypse. And as soon as I said I hadn't seen a honeybee, one came by checking out the blueberries. But yep, he didn't stay. Maybe that's a telling truth. And we all think insects are dumb. Like many people think kitties are dumb. But you know what? Sometimes I think on certain things, they know more than we do. So y'all, I ain't gonna get into all the current events, state of the world and the situation. There's enough people out there talking about all that. Polarizing everybody and doing whatever they want to do for whatever reasons they have. No, I'm just not going to do that. I make, you know, like I say, I may report on something that I feel is of interest to my children and my grandchildren. and therefore, if you choose to watch, you'll be in on. But for today, Sunday, the Lord's Day, in my mind, maybe yours, we're just taking it easy. We're going to enjoy a little bit of Asian cuisine here in an hour or so. Yeah, now that don't mean y'all all pile into the country kitchen. I know how y'all are. But me and Gracie have spoken. She knows to give me a heads up. We'll just have to wait and see. So until Speedy, Spooky, Lilybit, they're all around now playing. In time they'll all work it out. Cleo's down at her other home pouting. Yeah. She comes up for mealtime. But down there, she's an only cat. You know, we got Mr. Gray. I'm sure he's off about doing whatever he does. You know, here again, he makes sure he shows up for meals. Elrod, Heathcliff, Magoo. See y'all on the next video. And Gracie, which is inside, pre-prepping for dinner. Yeah. We got Spooky bought her some special gloves because she ain't got no paws. They're Velcro. And then he got a special knife that's got Velcro so she can help do the slicing and dicing. I guess we'll just have to see how that all turns out. God bless Spooky. Well, anyway, we'll see y'all in the next video. Y'all take care out there. Stay safe, and God bless you as you bless others. Goodbye for now. It is a beautiful day. You can't ask for a bluer sky than that. Well, I could. But I'm not greedy. I'll take that. Lilybit, you're a mess. You're a mess. You've been rolling around everything. You and Spooky playing. Yeah, you're a mess too, Spooky. Spooky, you know that's why Speedy's all upset, right? Because you're playing with Lilybit. I've never seen a cat, especially a male, as loving as this. He loves everything, even the possum that comes in the late night. He'll just sit there and let it feel you, chomp down. Or whatever the possum we have now's name is. Well, y'all, cooking today. We'll see you on the next one. Later, all. Stay safe, stay strong, stay warm. Spooky, get out of the road. Come on. Now, I see you eyeballing them greckles over there, little blackbirds. Well, I see you. Yeah. Fresh meat on the wing, right? They all just went up in the tree. Why? Because I think Mr. Gray's over there. He loves fresh blackbird too. Come on, Lilybit. You ready to cook? You ready to cook? Or you gonna stay out here and play with Spooky? You gonna play while it's still warm? Okay, baby. You play. You play. Papa's going on in. See ya in a couple hours for evening chow.